Hello, Internet. I'm KrissieDeathy, and today I'm going to read to you guys Earl and Barry Chapter 2, because I've been rereading this story recently. Book 1 is titled He is a Refined Great Villain, and Chapter 2 is Sir John's Cause. So let's continue on. I'll leave a link where you can read where I'm reading the first chapter somewhere on the screen. But the story is written by Mizue Tani, illustrated by Asako Takaboshi, and the translation I am reading is translated by Nalia. So chapter 2, Sir John Press. Let's begin. In the 16th century imperial court of Queen Elizabeth, there once was an Earl called Lord Ashenburg. He claimed to be the descendant of Lord Blue Knight and was an adventurist who traveled all over the world and told strange and wonderful anecdotes that he saw and heard to all the people to gather at the court. From all of his stories, a listener gathered and wrote down just the stories about his ancestor, Lord Blue Knight, which is said to have been the origin of the book, Lord Blue Knight, Traveler from the Fairyland, by F. Brown. Lydia knew very well about this book. It was one of the very many stories that her father read to her after the death of her mother. She remembers her father saying that this was a true story, of course, for Lydia, who knew about the existence of fairies. She didn't care about it. She only struck with admiration that there would be clans who would acknowledge a human as their ruler. When there would be a fairy king in the land where fairies ran it. A book that modeled after Lord Blue Knight, who was said to exist, most likely that was the part of the book that everyone believed to be real, and actually the fairy part was fiction. Sorry, I had to pause for personal text messages. But Lydia thought that there was nothing unreal about any part of the wonderful magical story in this book. Information about the treasured sword Edgar talked about is also available in the story. In the last chapter, there is a scene where Lord Blue Knight leaves from Edward I. He says that he will return to the fairyland. To the king who asked if he will return to his court, Blue Knight replied, "Of course, if your majesty calls for my service, I will come no matter where I am. I am forever your majesty's humble servant. But the fairyland time runs at a different speed than the human world. A year over there may be 100 years here. Then again, spending some 10 years and aging old could just be a few days' worth here. So I ask that your majesty, anytime I or any of one of my descendants returns to you, please be able to know that we are who we are." And then the king gave his sword to Lord Blue Knight. "In the name of Edward I, no matter when it shall be, the King of England will welcome the one who was proved to be the Earl Blue Knight." After that, it was said that a number of heirs of Lord Blue Knight had appeared in the England royal court. Out of those, one of them must have met Mr. Brown, who wrote the story of Lord Blue Knight. And now Edgar was that descendant. The thing that he was trying to get his hands on is the treasured sword of Edward I, proof of his position as Earl. Finding that was the job that was offered to Lydia as a fairy doctor. "Well, I guess that's all right. Why don't you help?" Mako was in an unusually good mood this morning, that being because a breakfast meal of pancakes and bacon was properly delivered to their room. "Hey, weren't you talking yesterday about how suspicious he was? But unless you don't do it, you're going to be thrown out penniless into an unfamiliar place. I wonder if that threat was serious. Even if I help, it won't guarantee that we'll find the treasure sword. Just take it as money paid in advance. You better make sure you get your worth. Oh, but there's always the idea of going on the run after getting the money," said the carefree, irresponsible cat, taking a napkin around his neck and arrogantly using a knife and fork to carry a slice of bacon into his mouth. "If one was going to charge money, then that person must be responsible and work for it. That's what a job was. But Lydia was undecided because she wasn't sure if Edgar was the real heir to the treasure sword or not. Though, as Nico says, unless they don't run with the money, it would be difficult to refuse helping him. I have to write to Father. Lydia took out some paper and an envelope that was set in the desk by the window. Dear Father, it seems that I will be arriving in London later than I was planning. A gentleman called the Earl Ashenbert has offered me a job regarding fairies. He says that he's the descendant of Lord Blue Knight. I don't know if he really is, but it looks like he won't release me unless I finish the job. She wondered if she should write about how she was nearly imprisoned by a man named Huxley, but decided that it would only worry him and didn't write it. Anyway, please do not worry about me. Take care of yourself. So long. After signing her name and closing the seal, there was a knock at the door. Edgar came breezing in. He said good morning with a crisp and cloudless smile. His blonde hair shined in the bright morning sun. He seemed so perfect that she began to feel jealous and wonder if God patronized him too much. What is your business? I thought we should discuss our plans and what we should do from now. He came in arrogantly, like this was his room, and sat down on one of the sofas. His foreigner servant that trailed in after him stood by the door and didn't move. Nico had already finished his meal, and because he was stretched out on the cushion, Edgar wasn't able to witness his rare eating situation. First, would you look at this? Edgar laid down a coin on the table near him. Lydia sat down so as to face the craftsman and picked up the coin in her hand. An old gold coin. The Earl family coat of arms is on it, and can you see that there's something written on it? According to my family, it's writing that was inscribed by fairies. It's so small I can't read it. Even though you're a fairy doctor, Lydia was ticked off by the comment. You know, you can just look at it through a magnifying glass. When it comes to the talk about fairies, people might see this as mysterious, and then they expect I use some magical powers and poof, the problem would be solved. But a fairy's got their weapon is their knowledge about fairies and negotiation skills. I am not a wizard. I understand. So this is a photo of it through a lupe. Can you read it this time? Lydia was briskly handed the piece of paper, and she overtly scowled. He could have just took this out from the beginning. On top of that, it revealed that there was some collection of twisted letterings with a little quirk in them. But if you look at it without being wrapped up by the fairies and so on, then you could immediately notice that it was alphabets. This is unmistakably English writing. Are you testing me? I don't know your capability. In society, there are people who take advantage of others, claiming that they cannot see what they see, and talk about how only they know about ghosts and fairies and visions of the future. However, you don't connect it with something obscure and unaccountable, and just because I am not able to understand it, you don't seem to be the type to give a vague answer. Just being able to find that out should be a plus for both of us, isn't it? He said plainly, as if nothing. Lydia scolded even further, but it was annoying that she was underestimated. So then, my lord, who's the descendant of the Lord Blue Knight, but can't see fairies, then do you believe that it was truly fairies that inscribed on this? This was inscribed by humans. If it is at the least of this level of detailed work, then it is something that a human can't. Then it isn't something that a human can't do. It doesn't serve as evidence that fairies exist. So you're saying that you're someone who fundamentally doesn't believe in fairies, and yet you believe in the existence of the treasured sword that's protected by fairies, and going to have that searched by a fairy doctor who you don't know if she's a fraud or not. The sword of Lord Blue Knight itself only has a historic origin and doesn't have any mystical about it. The issue is where it's hidden. Fairy names are used as the words to guide us to its location. Lydia, you said that a fairy doctor's weapon is their knowledge about fairies and negotiation skills. I just want that knowledge. I don't need any magical powers. I just want you to be able to understand what the words inscribed on them mean. Would it damage or profit to someone like me who doesn't believe in fairies to ask for the help of a fairy doctor in order to get that? Faced with his challenging stare, there was the urge inside of Lydia that filled up, of wanting him to admit his wrong and accept her reason. the reason why fairy doctors were needed from long ago. The bond between the fae and humans was so strong that just knowledge couldn't unravel it. Edgar, unless you don't ask more than just knowledge from me, then you won't get your hands on the treasured sword, you know. How reliable? Then would you first read this? Taking a breath, Lydia took the piece of paper and handed it to her. The green jack from Spanky's cradle, a dance with the pixies on the night with a moon. Beyond the Selkies cross, the maze of Zapuka. What is this? That's what I want to know. Just like those first reels, there was more of it using other fairy names. Without stopping, Lydia decided to run her eyes through all of it. Exchanged with the Merrill Star, if not, the Merrill was singing their song alignment. Is this all of it? The Merrill Star is most likely the star sapphire that's on the treasured sword, replied Edgar. So then the last part is the important part related to the treasured sword. I wonder what the exchange with the star means, mumbled Lydia. I don't know about that either and the rest of it. I'm pretty sure that the first half of it hints of the hidden location, but where are the estates of the Earl family? If we don't go there, then I can't say anything definite. My family has lands and buildings all over England, Edgar spread out a map. There were red X that marked various places on it. Where shall we start? Lydia asked. I want to know that too. Lydia was stumped. If they were to find column for each of them, then that would take an exhausting amount of time. And yet this man shoves this to her, repeating that he wants to know. Well, of course, from their point of view, this is a job they offered to Lydia. A job, mumbled Lydia. In the end, it looked like she was left with the option of accepting it. But if she looked at it positively, then it was an unusual job offer that was decent. If she wanted to become a profession, then she shouldn't be hesitating at a time like this, and Lydia felt desperate. She stirred up her fighting spirit. Maybe there was a hint of which estate it could be in the riddle. She ran her eyes across both the map and the memo and realized something about the names. It seems like it uses a lot of fairies from Ireland. Oh, really? But my family doesn't have any estates or castles in Ireland. But Merrow is what people in Ireland call mermaids. But if this points to where the sword is, then it might be somewhere close to the sea. She trailed the west side of the coast that was near Ireland. And there was one mark by the coast connected to the Irish Sea. Oh, what about here? Manon Island. If it's an island, then it should have one or two legends about mermaids. Well, let's start from here. It looked like she was going to take the long way around to get to London. For your information, I don't work free. You're going to have to pay me up front. Certainly, how much? No, she thought about it. She never really did have a decent offer for a job until now, and so she realized that she hadn't really decided on the exact wage of her services. But if that were to leak out to him, he'll underestimate her. So Lydia desperately put on a poker face. I'll be disparaged if I make it too low. Daringly, she showed all 5 fingers of her hand in front of Edgar. Edgar called for his servant without a single opinion to Lydia's demand. Raven swiftly left the room without waiting for instructions and immediately returned to it. Of course, in his hand was an ebony tray with a check on it. Right in front of Lydia, Edgar signed the check. When she looked at the check she was handed, she shut her mouth before she nearly yelped in surprise. Is that enough? She thought she was overcharging an exorbitant of £50. But 500? If she was just thrown such a fortune so lightly, she in turn became embarrassed and couldn't correct the misunderstanding. This seals the deal. I'll be expecting highly of you. Just when Edgar stood up from the sofa for the first time, Raven opened his mouth to Lydia. My lady, would you like me to send out your mail? It seemed he spotted her letter on the desk. He surely is a servant quick to notice. If it was in a normal situation, Lydia would think that, but for place and timing, she immediately sensed an unnerving shift in the air. Raven had realized that Lydia was trying to contact someone besides them, and purposely asked her so that Edgar could hear. It's all right, I'll send it out myself, she hurriedly replied, but she knew that Edgar sent a sharp glance at the envelope. A letter to who? To Father. I want to write him to let him know I'll arrive late to London. Is that bad? It'll be bad if our location is leaked up. Huxley and his men may go on ahead of us. I'm just going to tell him that I'll be late. Just that will make it apparent that you're helping me. Please understand, Lydia, once you have agreed to our contract, I am your employer. All secrets must be confidential. And I'd like you to follow my instructions. He didn't say it in a harsh voice, but it was a force in it that didn't allow any objections. He was used to others serving him. With his placid eyes and dignified voice and his straight and powerful posture, he had everything imaginable quality of a high-class noble, that it made his words sound undeniable. Still, feeling a faint urge to retaliate, Lydia remained silent. I apologize for being unreasonable, but Lydia, please don't inconvenience me too much. That would be in the best interest for you. She wondered if she were to secretly send out her letter, then would she be thrown into the sea? His calm voice gave her that frightening idea. A peculiar mix of calmness and frightening. The only thing Lydia understood was that, in the end, she was in the same situation as she was in prison, as when she was imprisoned by Huxley. She didn't know if she could compare which man, Edgar or Huxley, was the better the two evils for her. But she was sure that Huxley was a man easier to read. The letter to her father was still left on the desk, and the reason they didn't confiscate it was probably because he was confident that she wouldn't mail it out. To prove it, Lydia didn't have the strength to want to. The loyal servant wasn't as the simple servant to Edgar, but also a smart right-hand man. But Lydia saw the two of them as a much stronger bond than that, like partners in crime. It could be just like they were saying, that he would truly kill anyone who hurt Edgar. Hey, next time make sure to bring the milk tea hotter. It's not like I have a sensitive tongue like a cat, said Nico to Edgar and Raven, who were leaving the room. Lydia glanced towards Nico, wondering what made him want to talk all of a sudden. But Edgar didn't seem to notice that he said anything. Only Raven thought briefly, but after deciding that he imagined it, he followed after his master. He calls himself the heir of Lord Blue Knight, but if he's a boy who refuses to believe that a cat can talk from the start, then he will never be able to see fairies, or come to understand them. She wondered if this means she'll end up helping an imposter. Either way, she had no choice in the matter. Lydia's strength was strained from the thought that she had become a captive. From then on, every time she left her ship room, Armani accompanied her. Unlike her strange nondescript brother, she was cordial and talked warmly to her, but she didn't know if that was just a mere show, because she was the servant of Edgar. Miss Carlton, the sunlight is strong today, so please use this, said Hermione as she covered a sun umbrella over Lydia, who went out to the deck alone. There were passengers who showed interest by glancing at the maid in men's clothing, but Hermione paid them no attention. Lydia wasn't a daughter of a high-class society, that she worried about sun tanning, but she did envy Hermione's beautiful white skin. The weather is unusually beautiful today for this country, remarked Hermione. The side of her face appeared like she was remembering the sun of a foreign country. Miss Hermione, have you been to a foreign country? Please, call me Hermione, and yes, I am not British. Now that I think about it, Edgar also said that he had been in a foreign country up till now. So that must have been true. Do you not trust Lord Edgar? That's because there's so much that he, besides our first meeting, was grabbing me suddenly and pinning my arms behind my back. On top of that, I don't know if he's kind or frightening, or if he's a gentleman or something else. Is he really an Earl in the first place? She replied with only a soft smile, and didn't mention anything about her master. And that man named Raven, he's young, but he has no expression on his face whatsoever. Did Edgar order him not to smile? If he was ordered that, he seems like the type to follow it. Raven is that kind of child. It isn't that he's been ordered to act so. But if it was Lord Edgar's orders, then he may do anything to follow it. That kind of child. The way she said it sounded like he was very close to him. A relationship like she kindly watched over him. She must have sensed Lydia's curiosity and answered her question. Raven is my younger brother, But our skin color is different because our fathers are different. Miss Carlton, you say you know any thing about fairies. But have you ever traveled over to their world? Well, yes, you may not believe me, but the passageways are everywhere. On the border of the shades and sunlight, places where the wind momentarily changes course, in the thickets of hawthorns and bushes of elderberries, and in the shadows of the shamrock leaves. In our country, the existence of fairies was also believed, but as something more frightening, and there were children who were born with the blood of those feared fairies. Raven was that child. Oh, really? Then can he also see and talk to fairies too? I'm not sure. He was a child who didn't want to talk to others about fairies. She could understand about not wanting to talk to others about it. If Lydia had a quiet personality about it, then she too would have done so. But of course, in order to not forget her mother, she always kept her attention open toward that magical world. But Lydia was also whispered behind her back about being a very changeling from a young child. She didn't resemble her mother or father. Her eye color was extremely rare, and her eyes would follow something when she was alone in the baby crib, and then suddenly giggle and laugh. And when she grew up, she would play by herself with something invisible and talk to it like it was talking back to her. And that had disturbed her nanny. She would just ignore those who called her an oddball, but then she was called a changeling. It was shocking and sad, like her ties and memories with her mother were negated. So he also had bad experiences. It's something that others can't understand. I believe so, and in Raven's case, it's an incarnation of an evil spirit. It was originally regarded as a horrid existence, and the one to be possessed by it would be cast away from society. Even his older sister. I wasn't able to understand everything about him. We left our country like we were hunted out. We found our way to Lord Edgar, and finally found our place in the world. Because he's the Earl of the fairyland? Whether he's the Earl or not, because he is a sad man. Sad to Lydia that he was arrogant and coercive, and manipulated others like a pawn on his own game, and seemed to be enjoying dangerous deals with others and treasure hunting. Lydia tilted her head, and Hermione lifted the edges of her lips. She replied back with an expression that was mixed with a hurt smile. The Lord's kindness and strictness is a part of his sadness, and that's why he accepts our sadness as well. I only wish that the fairy world will bring true repose to him. Lydia wondered what she meant by true repose, but it was a place where the descendants of Lord Blue Knight will return to, or because it was her wish because he wasn't the real heir. Lydia didn't know. Edgar and Raven and Hermione, they showed her different sides of themselves one after another, that her picture of who they were was always shifting. The alarm horn whistled. The low, vibrating sound was sucked into the darkening sky. A group of people who were talking out on the deck pointed to something out on the sea, and Lydia craned her neck to see it. It was an army patrol ship, a large black shadow headed in their direction, and then the ship they were on gradually slowed down. I wonder what happens, said Hermione, and knitted her nervous brows. Let's go back to the room, Miss Carlton. And I'll end this one here on page 68 of this. So I'll finish it to you later. Bye-bye. I hope you enjoyed listening.